All right, Shalom. This is your brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace. And Yashar Allah is Israel in ancient Paleo Hebrew. This is prayer of Azariah, chapter 1 and verse 8. And it reads, Wherefore all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that thou hast done to us, thou hast done in true judgment. And thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of the Most High, and to an unjust king, and the most wicked in all the world. And now we cannot open our mouths. We are become a shame and reproach to thy servants, and to them that worship thee. Yet deliver us not up wholly, for thy name's sake, neither disannul thou thy covenant, and cause not thy mercy to depart from us, for thy beloved Abraham's sake, for thy servant Isaac's sake, and for thy holy Israel's sake, to whom thou hast spoken and promised that thou wouldest multiply their seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand that lieth upon the seashore. For we, O Lord, are become less than any nation, and be kept under this day in all the world because of our sins. All right, and I want to go into a lesson on that. I was just on the way home, kind of meditating on things, and where we are as a nation of people is truly the worst case scenario. The scriptures talk about when you increase in wisdom, you increase in grief, because you realize that as a nation of people, we're on the bottom. No matter who Esau puts in front of us as a symbol of progress and success, as a nation of people, as a nation, we are ridiculed. We don't have enough to take care of our necessities as a nation of people. We don't have our own. We're not sovereign. Our narrative is controlled by people that hate us. We have to go to our enemies for the one of all things. And, I was kind of just thinking about the whole thing, through the spirit, and how much of a vexation it is to have to suffer these heathens having rulership and dominion over us, man. All right, let me go here real quick. This is Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 7. Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand. We get our bread with the peril of our lives because of the sword of the wilderness. And that is the average Negro, Latino, and Native American, not just in America, but abroad as well, because no matter where you go, the curses follow us. And I was just thinking about us being a nation that the Lord has made. Even in our lower state, we're stronger than all the other nations. We are a more talented nation of people. Even in this lower state, with all the effort Esau has put in destroying us, we still are able to have some remnant of strength in this captivity. And you just think about how comfortable our people are in this position, and it's a vexation. You look at all these other nations that look at us and that hiss at us, all right, and that mock us, all right, and it's a vexation because you realize through the spirit that the Lord made us to be above, not to be in this predicament, all right? I should say not to be in this predicament forever. Our condition is a punishment. This isn't where we belong. 2/3 of our people believe this is where we belong. That's why they look at the state of our nation as progress. That really comes from an inferiority complex because they believe that we actually belong here. So anything Esau gives us is a privilege. All right, real quick. This is Lamentations chapter Salakia. Yeah, this is Lamentations chapter 2 and verse 16. And it reads, All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, We have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we looked for. We have found, we have seen it. And you look at the other nations, we don't have any allies. You know, the world enjoys seeing Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans on the bottom. You know, that's why they love going to these basketball games, these football games, these Edomites especially. They love to sit in the skybox and look at Jake, you know, basically give their body in exchange for a little comfort on this side of life. Because even if they play in the NFL or the NBA, they're paid highly, but they're still high paid servants. You know, that money doesn't give them any sovereignty. They still have to have a passport. They still have to request permission to go overseas, and they have to be back at a certain time. You know, you look at a guy like P. Diddy. You know, he was, for years, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, propped him up as a symbol of so-called black excellence. You know, he caught a charge and he can't even bond out. You know, he was willing to put up to $70 million worth of assets to get out of jail, and the so-called white man just said no. You know, our life is truly in the hands of another, and it's not just anybody, but it's those that hate us. And 2/3 of our people, they have no problem with us being in bitter captivity, like it says in Esther. All right, I'm gonna get that real quick. This existence should upset you. It should vex you. You know, as a nation of people, this is what we've amounted to. You know, our highest form of excellence is athleticism and entertainment. That's all we good for. You ask the average child of a Negro, Latino, or Native American what they want to be when they grow up. They might say football. They might say basketball. They might say soccer. They might say most of them will say musicians. But it all revolves around some form of entertainment. Why is that? Because that's all they see. That's all that's propped up as success for us as a nation. And that's vexing, man. We better than that. You know, and that's why we hasten to see the rulership, man, to see the king. You know, Yahweh Shai is the author and finisher of our faith. When he arrives, he is the face of our nation. You know, under Yahweh, he is the face of our nation. Right now, when people think of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they might think of George Lopez, Michael Jordan, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, LeBron James, you know, Bob Marley, if you will. They think of musicians and athletes, Muhammad Ali. All right, they think of all of these musicians and athletes. That's not the face of our nation. Because whoever they put up as the face of your nation, that's basically them saying this is all y'all can amount to. And this is why we hasten to see the kingdom of heaven, because with Yahweh Shai at the helm in rulership, that becomes the face of our nation. We're not supposed to be known for athleticism and entertainment. We're supposed to be known as the people that the Lord hath blessed. All right, we're supposed to be known as kings and priests under Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, real quick. This is Exodus chapter 19 and verse 6. And it reads, "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel." All right, the Lord promised us dominion, you know, if we were obedient to the commandments. But either way, through the Spirit, the Lord still promised it to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And this is why we still have access to that mercy to this day. The promise the Lord made to our forefathers does not disannul because of the law, which is why we have access to that mercy now. But the perfect judgment for a nation of kings and priests is to make them servants to their servants. You know, the Lord said that he made the world was made for our sakes, but we don't have an inheritance with it at this point because we were disobedient. And instead of our people acknowledging that we're in captivity, they've turned this prison into their home, or they're trying to. And every step of the way, the Lord reminds them that this is not your rest. But again, our people kick against the pricks. You know, and you look at our people and how simple and docile our people have become in this captivity, where they'll look at Esau giving us a gold medal for some kind of athleticism, or giving Jake a Grammy, And our people will look at that and even cry, shed tears about Jake becoming a president, as if this is a symbol of progress. Meanwhile, as a nation of people, we live at the peril of our life. There's no assurance of our life. And that's rich or poor. It's damn near worse for the rich Jakes because they don't know if they're going to be able to stay on top. All right, this is additions to Esther chapter 5 and verse 8. And it reads, nevertheless, it satisfies them not that we are in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols. All right, because our people are so rebellious that even in this condition as a people, even being put to an open shame, not just by Esau, Edom, but the other nations. Moab, for example, has this, it's basically like a blackface, where they black their face, they put on golds and cornrows, and they basically make mockery of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And it satisfies our people not that we in bitter captivity, that everywhere you turn, you're being mocked. All right, everywhere you turn, you're being stereotyped as a criminal or a person of low intellectual value, where everybody feels that they're entitled to your labor. You know, the scriptures talk about our people laying their body as the ground to them that walked over. That should vex you. All right, but it doesn't vex 2/3 of our people. You know, they're spiritually institutionalized to a point where they just happy with the trinkets that come with prison. They don't want sovereignty. They don't have sovereign interest. They don't desire to be in their own land. At this point, our people are willing to settle for whatever Esau is offering. Even when you think about BLM was a protest of our people begging the so-called white man to acknowledge and value their existence. Having to do that in the 2020s should tell you that this is not our rest. Our people are satisfied with Esau giving them crumbs from his table, whereas the Lord has promised us a table of our own. And this is why the captive exile hasteneth. All right, matter of fact, let's get that. This is Isaiah 51 and 14. The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread shall fail. Because again, this is a captivity. And once you realize that through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, nothing here is going to be satisfying. Because you realize that you're in prison as a nation of people. The world is mocking us. Anytime they put Jake on TV, 9 times out of 10, it's a form of mockery. Or it's like a carrot on a stick. Look, you know, there's a rich Jake amongst you. Celebrate it. But you don't judge the quality of your people by the exceptions. You judge the quality and standard of living of your people by the average. That's how you assess the quality and standard of your nation, by the average. And on average, our people fall under the curses. You have some of our people have done certain deals, backroom deals, or whatever the case may be, to have a little bit more than the average Negro, Latino, or Native American. As the scriptures say, they reign like kings without us. But overall, we are in our captivity. We're not in our rest. All right. And that is a vexation when you look at how our people are represented in the earth. That is a vexation, man. All right. Matter of fact, let me get this in Zephaniah Salakia. This is Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 18. And it reads, I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly, who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. The fact that our people celebrate these so-called holidays at the expense of their own culture is a vexation. That being on the highways and hedges, beginning with our apostles and elders, telling our people who we actually are and what our culture actually is, and watching them to reject that for a color in a crayon box is a vexation. To watch our people pull a shoulder from the Heavenly Father and his commandments to follow after a man, the basis of men, is a vexation. To watch our people refuse the Lord to accept their enemies or to desire the validation of those that hate us. This is why in Isaiah the 10th chapter it says the remnant shall no longer stare upon him that smote them. Which means by default, the opposite of the remnant is doing exactly that. They're leaning on their enemies, those that hate them. That's a vexation. You know, when you come into this truth through the Spirit, it forces you to zoom out. It forces you to zoom out and look at our nation as a whole. You know, because the Lord is talking to us as a family. Matter of fact, for edification, this is Amos 3:1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. So when you come to this truth and you hear the words of the Lord, it forces you to zoom out. And the moment you begin to zoom out through the Spirit and see what the Lord is saying, you no longer care about trying to be the exception, the rich Jake. You know, when you realize that the Lord has promised us that we're going to have a commonwealth. You know, you no longer desire to chase the carrot on the stick that Esau has propped up amongst our people, because you realize why we're here. We didn't fall on the other side of the world by accident. We didn't fall into this condition as Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans by accident. This didn't happen by chance. The Lord said he would punish us for all of our iniquities, because we are the only family that the Lord has known. We're the family that the Lord has made covenants with. This is why we're alone in the punishment. None of these nations are coming to our aid. You know, you have our people who still believe we're African. None of them so-called African nations, all right, sent boats over here or sent troops over here to come save you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We don't have any allies amongst these other nations. We're alone as a people. All we have is the Lord. And 2/3 of our people refuse was given to them as welfare and mercy. And when you look at how we're represented as a nation of people, it's a vexation, man. Yeah, when you walk in a room, the stereotypes and the slander that Esau has pushed across the world, that walks in before you even have an opportunity to show what kind of character you have. Because you never rise above the reputation of your people. Other nations may look at you like an exception to the rule, but they still lump you in with your people. You never rise above that reputation. This is why a regular so-called white person with no achievements or accomplishments can go to Thailand or some other country and get treated damn near like Donald Trump. Because when they see him or that average so-called white person, they think about the so-called white man as a collective. That is a certain level of commonwealth. Commonwealth isn't just resources and substance. It's also reputation. This is why in the kingdom, the Lord said this. All right, Isaiah 61, and I'm going to jump down to verse 9 in the NLT. It says their descendants will be recognized and honored among the nations. Everyone will realize that they are a people the Lord has blessed. So we're going to have a commonwealth as a nation of people that doesn't just include resources. It also includes reputation. Because on this side, we have been forsaken and hated. All right. Matter of fact, I'll make that too. This is Isaiah 60 and 15. And it reads, whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. In the NLT, it reads, though you were once despised and hated, with no one traveling through you, I will make you beautiful forever, a joy to all generations. Right now, as a nation of people, this is an ugly state of affairs, man. You know, I did a lesson on it with Trump, you know, basically putting this project out of setting up so-called black statues of Muhammad Ali and Martin Luther King. And when I sat and thought about it through the Spirit, these are the ones that are propped up as our heroes, as the forerunners, if you will, as heroes, as Trump termed it in one of his speeches, I believe. And that's the highest our people can amount to under Esau. Great athletes, all right? A preacher, preaching for integration and loving your enemies instead of seeking true justice. Like, these are the so-called heroes that Esau puts in front of our people. And he's really making a mockery of our people, but our people don't really understand the game that's being played. And that's a vexation in itself. That's why this is the worst captivity, because in this captivity, our people don't even know who the fuck they are. Excuse my French. They don't even realize the game that's being played above us. And we so much better than this through the spirit that it's really going to take the Lord having to destroy 2/3 of our people and save the remnant for us to actually reach the intended status for us as a nation of people. Because we were not made to be on the bottom forever. This is a pit stop. This isn't our final destination. This isn't our final form, like they say on Dragon Ball Z. And we're talking about as a nation of people. When you have to fight to be the exception to your people, that should tell you that there's something wrong. When you're born, it's like, I'm going to be the one to break the curses of my family. Why are the curses even set there? You don't really think about these things until you come into the truth. Certain things that our people have normalized is not normal. It's not normal that your family has been here since slavery and y'all have nothing to show for it. You born into a world where you started in negative. And as a kid, the only thing you can hope for is that you the one that can get enough money to get your people out the hood. That shit ain't normal. That everywhere you go that ain't around your own people, the world look at you like a damn criminal or like you slow and stupid. Even these jakes that are so-called rich. There was a certain rapper that got on the podcast and he said the reason I wear all these chains is because if I just went in there with a hoodie and some sweats, they'll follow me around and they'll treat me, they'll treat me like a regular Negro, Latino, or Native American. When you got to fight to be the exception, there's a problem with your nation as a whole. This is vexing, man. That the ones who control our narrative, the so-called white man controls our people's narrative. This is why when you go overseas, the idea and image the world has of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans is everything Esau done told them. We gangsters, we pimps, we criminals, we dumb. That's a vexation, man. This is Deuteronomy 15:6. And it reads, "For the Lord thy God blessed thee as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee." And we've gotten to a point where 2/3 of our people can't even imagine something like this. Us actually having rulership and dominion. Our people actually having a commonwealth. Not just some one rich family member that everybody love to get or go to their house because they got all the whatever the case is. That's not normal, man. The way we live as a nation of people, this shit is not normal. And once the Lord open your eyes to this, it make all of this a vexation. All right, real quick, there's Ecclesiastes 7:7, and it reads, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." All right. And a lot of our people are fighting for that gift. They fighting to take that bribe from Esau so they can live in comfort and flash it and flaunt it in front of the rest of their people. Because that's what the so-called rappers and athletes do. They get this money and then they go to the hood and put a $300,000 car in the middle of a neighborhood where the average income is $20,000 and say it's for motivational purposes. This is the state of affairs. As a nation of people, this is vexing. This is a fucking nightmare. That as a nation of people, our people are comfortable here and the other nations look at us like this is all we can amount to. Now, granted, it's the punishment from Yahweh Shai, but it's supposed to make you mad. And it's supposed to make you return to the Lord, man. Matter of fact, let me go to that. This is Deuteronomy chapter 31. The Wadi by Shemal Shah. Deuteronomy 31:17. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, are not these evils come upon us, because our God is not among us? And that's what the elect are saying. That's the conclusion the elect have arrived at. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. That all of this got to be from the Heavenly Father. We ain't just slip and fall in this condition. And it's a vexation to have to exist like this, especially knowing through the Spirit that the Lord made us and created us to be better than this. That this is supposed to be a punishment. But instead of our people looking at this like a punishment, they glorify this, which ain't doing nothing but provoking the Lord more, which is why they're going to have to learn this through death by pain. The Lord turned the world into a prison for us as a people. And instead of Jake being sorrowful, instead of Jake acknowledging their offense, they in the prison dancing. You know, brothers were talking about this on the highways and hedges. You know, the Lord let a Jake get shot and survive 4 or 5 shots. And Jake could be on a hospital bed taunting the people that tried to kill him, saying, I'm still alive. Not taking heed, not considering. And this is why there's no other solution for 2/3 of our people except them learning this through death by pain and coming back through the loins of the elect in their right mind. If not, we will be in this kind of condition forever. Jake addicted to the Zans and perks, and they having families, they having kids. 2-3 generations from now, our people gonna be completely unrecognizable, man. As if they not already. And that's why the captive exile, Lord willing, we be a part of that number. We hasten it to be loose from this. This shit is a nightmare. And it ain't nowhere you can run. Jake think they're going to get some money and it's going to help them get. It's a new problem in that tax bracket. You just ain't seen it yet. There's no way you can run from the Lord. And instead of our people acknowledging their offense, they just keep provoking, man. And that's why we hasten for the conclusion of this matter, the day of doom. Because that's the only way we're going to actually have rest. There's nowhere on this side where we actually have rest as a nation of people. Especially you Negro, Latino, and Native American men. The moment you get some sense, you stressed. You're probably born into a home where it's just your mama and you trying to figure out what the fuck going on, excuse my French. Then as you grow older, you get more responsibilities. And everything, more responsibilities, no check. Our life hang in the balance, man. And it's not normal to live like this. Jake accept this like it's normal. Ain't shit normal about having to live like this as a nation of people. Even if you did become rich, so-called rich, now you have to deal with the struggle of everybody looking to you. And the reality is that you can't save everybody. This is a vexation as a nation of people. But because our people don't think as a nation as a whole, they only worry about their own personal situation, they think everything cool. Because they got a little bit of freedom to move around. They can get this bag of chips instead of that bag of chips at the convenience store. And all of a sudden they feel like we free. Come on, man. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28. You know what? Let me get this. This is Deuteronomy 28:65. And it reads, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and a failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. And that's rich or poor. You know, outside looking in, Jake think them rich Jakes got it good. Nah, man. Them niggas is fighting demons for real. Them niggas ain't just rapping. Verse 66, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. Because the rich Jakes are only rich because the Edomite gave it to them. You think about it. Really think about the ones that come to mind when you think about rich Jakes. They're not rich off of resources. The musicians, they rich because a label gave them a loan. And they got a big check from it, but they got to spend money. They got to spend time paying back that loan with interest. The football players and the basketball players and the baseball players, you could throw them in there too. The soccer players, they get contracts, but at any moment in time, the owner of the company could just say, you know what? We don't want to work with you no more. We don't need your services are no longer needed. And it's back to the ghetto you go. Even though they have more than the average Jake, their life hangs in doubt. All right. Their life hangs in the balance. They have no assurance of their life. There's a level of wealth our people can't even imagine. Being born in a family, not famous, not having to do nothing, not having to go work for it. You just born into a family that has millions, if not billions. You don't have to work. You don't have to have a purpose. You got some Rothschilds and DuPonts that you don't know their name. You don't know what they look like, and they don't have no worries. That is a true commonwealth. And at this point, the so-called white man is stealing that commonwealth from his own brethren. But in the kingdom, we will have a commonwealth as a nation of people. No more fighting for scraps. And that's why we desire a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwells righteousness, man. Because this reproach is a burden. It ain't just because we lack resources. Our reputation as a nation of people is fucking tarnished, man. It's tarnished on this side, man. And there ain't no bag that's going to make that shit go away. It ain't no bag that's going to make these other nations look at you differently. All right, real quick. I'm going to get this. This is Zephaniah 3 and 19. And it reads, behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halteth, and gather her that was driven out. And I will give them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. We've been put to shame everywhere we landed. And it exists to this day. Esau will pay you $1 million to get on the stage and say, do that little dance. You know, do that little TikTok. Or he'll give you $1 million contract that, hey, run up and down that court, nigga. You know what time it is. Or grab this pigskin. I need you to hit that end zone. And they do that it's a bragging right for them. Jake looking at them like they savior, like, man, he took me out the ghetto. It's a mockery of you. They got it to spin. But every land we was put to shame, the Lord is going to give us praise and fame. Not for being athletes, not for being funny, not for knowing how to cook, not for knowing how to dance, but for being the people that the Lord has blessed. I'm going to end it with this. This is Psalms 126, and I'm going to start at the top. It says, a song of degrees. When the Lord turned again the captivity of Zion, we were like them that dream. Then was our mouth filled with laughter, and our tongue was singing. Then said they among the heathen, the Lord hath done great things for them. You can only imagine how good it's going to be in the kingdom if we're going to look back at this shit and laugh. Because this is a vexation through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. But the beauty of it is that when we look at prophecy, we know that this nightmare is almost over. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.